101, denoting an introductory course in the subject specified.
101 is a slang term for the most basic knowledge in some subject.
101, like our podcast.
This is Venezuela 101.
The podcast where we will explain in depth, but in simple terms and with the help of experts, the complex elements that compose the Venezuelan reality. Human rights violation, complex humanitarian emergency, the economy, irregular groups' presence, irregular activities and illegal economy, social issues, and politics are some of the topics that we will address in this podcast, Venezuela 101.
Hosted by Miguel Pizarro, Deputy to the National Assembly of Venezuela, Commissioner to the United Nations and Humanitarian Aid, and Melanio Escobar, myself, journalist, Director of Humano Derecho and Redes Ayuda, activist and human rights defender. Every 2 weeks, you can listen to a new episode of Venezuela 101 through your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, and YouTube.
We are two friends and colleagues who decide to bring to the English-speaking community a greater understanding of what's happening in our country, Venezuela. We all have friends who doesn't speak Spanish, but they have asked us about the situation in Venezuela. Our idea is, with our limited English, to help them to understand our country.
So, do you have a colleague, a friend, or family member interested in knowing what is happening in Venezuela beyond the headlines? Share this podcast and follow us on our social media, Instagram and Twitter as Miguel_Pizarro and Melanio Bar. Listen to us here on Venezuela 101.